Alright, so welcome to my channel, guys. This is going to be the 5th lesson of our grammar course, and I know it's been a while, but we're going to try to put out a video every week. This is going to be the 5th lesson as mentioned, and it's going to be on sentence elements. Right, so quick recap on lesson 4. In lesson 4 we spoke about our phrases, right? So we spoke about the adjective phrase, which is basically a combination of an adjective and an adverb, usually an adverb of degree. We also spoke about adverb phrases, which are perhaps the trickiest ones, and these can be a combination of adverbs and adjectives. But we're going to see all the phrases in detail in further lessons. The noun phrase is just a noun consisting of an adjective and a noun. Sometimes we can even include an article, which we spoke about them. Articles are also called modifiers. For prepositions of place, we talked about the fact that they consist of a preposition and an object of a preposition. The object of the preposition we said was a noun phrase, right? And you can always go back to the previous video to get more information or to kind of refresh on the phrases. The last phrase we talked about, and it's actually the last one of the phrases, is the verb phrase. For the verb phrase, it could be a combination of an auxiliary and a main verb, or just any verbal word that can be used here. Right, so let's go through the sentence elements. These are actually quite easy, and the first one is as follows, right? So the subject is the first one. The subject refers to the person or thing that is performing the action in the sentence. Second, we have the verb. The verb is the action of the sentence, or it could be a verbal word, right? So sometimes the verb is a non-action verb. Object is the opposite. Think about it as the opposite of the subject. It's the person or thing receiving the action as opposed to performing the action. Fourth on the list is our complement. This one can be confusing, but the full name of it is the complement of the subject. So what this means is that it provides additional information about the subject, especially with our intransitive verbs, which we'll look at in a further lesson. The fifth and last one is the adverbial. So the adverbial simply provides information about time and place in a sentence. Alright, so let's take a look at some examples and see how they work. One structure that we could use is subject-verb adverbial. For example, the train is leaving shortly. So the train is our subject, and this is going to be a noun phrase consisting of a modifier and a subject. Here, the verb, we have a verb phrase, is leaving. We have an auxiliary verb and a progressive verb as well. For the adverb, shortly. So this is an adverb, right? And it describes, in this case, time. Another structure we can use is subject-verb complement. My mother was a doctor. So the subject is my mother. It is who the sentence is about. The verb is the verb be in past, was, and the complement is a doctor. So this is complementary information about my mother in this case. Let's take a look at more structures. The classic subject-verb object. This one is perhaps the easiest one. I was reading an article. So the subject is I, the verb is was reading. Again, we have an auxiliary and a main verb. And you can see how the subject, I in this case, is performing the action of reading. right? What is he reading, or what is receiving the action? In this case would be an article. The last example that we're going to talk about in this video, our structure is subject, verb, object, and adverbial. So take a look at the sentence here with me. We have the plane left Toronto at 5 o'clock. So here, of course, the subject is the plane. Again, this is a noun phrase. We have the verb left, which we will call a verb phrase, even though it consists of only one word. Object is going to be Toronto. Toronto is also a noun phrase, even though it only consists of one word. And the adverbial is now giving us information about the time. Again, the adverbial can also give us information about the place, and you can notice this because they can be preposition phrases, right? Prepositional phrases give us information about time and place. All right, so let's take a look at what kind of phrases we can use with each sentence elements. So for the subject, we can only use noun phrase. And if you think about it, this is very reasonable, as the subject has to be a person or a thing, and those are of course nouns. The verb phrase again is very easy to remember, as a verb phrase is the only type of phrase that can be a verb element. For the object, this is similar, and again I made the idea that the object is kind of like the opposite of the subject. So again, it can only be a noun phrase, as it's got to be a person or a thing receiving the action. For the last two, we have the complement. The complement can be an adjective phrase giving complementary information about the subject. The complement can also be a noun phrase, because noun phrases can also describe in a way. For the adverbial, we have the adverbial phrase, such as adverbs, shortly, quickly. Prepositional phrases, and we said that these were prepositions plus a noun phrase. So at the train station, in my car, at the house. And adverbials can also be noun phrases in certain occasions, especially again if the noun phrase is giving us information about place and time, such as next week is a noun phrase, and it is giving us information about time. Right, so a sneak peek at the next lesson. The next lesson is going to be a really short lesson on how English compares with other languages and some of the important differences and key points of English that you must remember in comparison with other languages. Right, so a question that I'd like everybody to participate with in the comment section is, how can you identify sentence elements? This is a very important skill that you need to develop, especially when you start working with more complex grammar, like complex sentences, for example, to keep track of the sentences and the clauses, and so that you can combine them in correct English syntax. Lastly, a lot of you guys have been asking in the comment sections for the next lesson. We finally got this next lesson out, and I look forward to being able to make a lesson for you guys each week. But it is important that you guys support the channel in any way that you can, by leaving likes, comments, subscribing, of course, to all the new followers, or if this is the first time on this channel, and hitting the notification bell. The truth is, this all helps the YouTube algorithm and helps drive the views to this channel, and keeps us motivated, and myself in particular, to keep working on these free videos for you guys. So I really hope you enjoyed the video. Any questions, please comment below, and stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be our lesson 6 on this grammar course.